My my stats seem rather weak. What are my stealth and short blade skills? Short blade is a big old goose egg, and stealth is just at 3, the kind of standard from the start. I'm not too worried about it. We could increase stealth a little bit, try and get those stabs off, especially with something like Petrify. It does work out pretty nicely, but I'm hoping not to need to rely too much on our stabbing efficacy, and instead get some good spells under our belt, and maybe end up going more of an unarmed manifold assault kind of route. But we'll have to see what the run has in store. We'll check out who's in our temple here. And I don't even know who I feel like following today. I guess we can take the quick peek. Sif Muna is not an option whatsoever, so that takes at least one of the kind of standard spellcasters off of our list. Am I feeling like a vehement run? I could be convinced for sure. I think I'll stay away from Gozag, even though, as most of you probably know, I'm always very happy to go with Gozag. But for that reason alone, maybe we'll hold off for the moment today. Maybe we will just go for a good solid vehement run. Ashen Zari is always a little bit tempting. Let's get blasting, shall we? The one, the only, the Lord of Destruction. Let's do it, you and I. Perfect. Howdy, Jazzy. How are you doing today? Hope your weekend has been great. Hope you're heading off into a fun week as well. Always lovely to have you drop on by, so thank you. Identified Holy Word Scroll and early grinder, felt cheating. Hey, if it works, it works. In this game, you take whatever victories you can grab, regardless of how cheap they may feel. And Vey is strong with earth spells. Extra range is great. Definitely. Yeah, that is absolutely huge. Even just from a convenience standpoint, I find myself absolutely adoring Behemoth on Earth Elementalist. Having Stone Arrow finally kind of reach the same range as everyone else's standard kind of early mid-game spells just feels good, man. But okie dokie, let's, in a shocking twist to my usual routine, actually read some scrolls a little bit earlier on here, shall we? Get teleportation right off the bat, so we'll head back upstairs so we don't get shunted off to some strange new land here in the new level. And maybe these are ID? No. Oh gosh. We might only have 2. We might even only have 1 ID scroll so far. Well, how about that? I don't know, I guess serves me good, or serves me right for having some hope and actually identifying scrolls at an appropriate time for once. Just F me, I guess. Hey, game? But I'll take it. You've been studying for finals, been a slog, but after this one, you should be good. Well, awesome. I wish you the best of luck. Definitely is always a trying time getting all prepped up for finals, but I'm glad that you're just about done. That's always exciting for sure. I know I'm very much just about wrapped up on my current big project that I have going on in my development program, so I feel you there. No tests for me, fortunately. I feel very lucky for that. I've always been someone who is pretty comfortable with tests. I've always liked tests a lot, but I feel like a lot of that's a holdover from like just having a pretty good memory. In like junior high and high school, if you had a good memory, it meant that you never had to study. University is where I finally had to learn to study a little bit, which made me vastly behind people who had actually kind of prepared themselves in that regard in the earlier days of their education. But I kind of got there eventually, so it all works out in the end. Paralysis length cap got reduced in trunk, went from 7 to 5. Ooh, that's a shame. I mean, paralysis, I guess I don't use too often. Occasionally with the wand, if you're following Uskaya, you might see a pretty tangible nerf there. Fortunately, I'm hoping that doesn't transfer it all over to Petrify, so all good with my Earth Elementalists at the very least. But where do we want to spec for spells next year? I had this open for a bit, but haven't really made up my mind. We could go with Mephitic Cloud, Ignite Poison. That's always a really kind of solid combo. Ensorcelled Hibernation could be a nice one as well. Oh, paralysis on players went from 7 to 5. Ooh. Oh, that's nice. There's, I think one of my Palantongas from very early days in this series that would have been very relieved to have had that change a bit earlier. But monsters can still be paralyzed for eternity. See, I'm curious. I don't actually know how the numbers work out there on paralyzing monsters. Like, is it a thing that scales off of something like spell power? How long they're paralyzed? I guess there's no paralyzed spell, so I don't know what I'm talking about. With the wands, though, it's just chance that's off evocation. So is that a flat number of turns? I've never paid close enough attention. Usually I'm too busy crapping my pants to pay attention to exactly how long that paralysis wand actually saves my life for. But for now, let's learn Ensorcelled Hibernation. It's very much in the theme for our character here. Seems lovely. And that is absolutely fantastic. Ooh, +1 Robe of the Black Moon. Contamination. Not my favorite. Means it'll be hard to change out of after the fact. But resistance to poison and Robe of the Archmagi? I mean, how could I not? We were planning to use this leather armor moving forward, but this will give us some pretty wild spell power nice and early on here. Sandblast is fully maxed out. You'd love to see it. Stone Arrow also fully maxed out, 3d13. Holy moly. Okay, now we have to just stay alive, right? It's that easy. Just don't die forehead. What a good start. 3d14, so that's gonna be 42 damage max. You don't love seeing that with 36 health. It's gonna take you a couple of turns to actually be petrified. Hey, you son of a gun. You know Zin's Recite paralyzes for eternity, but you're not sure about the other ones? Interesting. And it's a rare decision to actually make the game easier somehow. Yeah. Time for paralysis to count as petrification for monster LRD to restore the balance. Yeah, just perfect. For every bonus, there needs to be a shift more towards the negative side as well. I mean, as a fan of hard games, I'm not actually against that, even though I kid about it. Challenging for no reason whatsoever. Not always in the best interest in terms of game design, but in a game like this where jeez Louise, sorry, distracted as a random centaur appears. Almost took way more damage than I should have just walking around. But I think it's what my brain was trying to parse there for a moment was the idea that a lot of the changes that have been made to make the game harder, I probably initially would have been resistant to. But then once I find them put into practice, I just find that it makes the game interesting again and, you know, makes it feel brand new. I'm hoping there's a similar thing like that for the attacks of opportunity, because I haven't had a chance to try those out at all in Trunk. But I know with the like melee delay change that happened, when was that, like 0.26? Somewhere in there, maybe 0.27. I've really liked that change all in all, even though it seemed like a huge deal to start off with. These days, I don't even really notice anymore. It's just become second nature. Early game is currently more difficult than desired, so I think it's still tuned down once it's figured out how to. Yeah, I don't mind early game being super hard, kind of as an extension as to what I was just talking about there. Early game in particular becomes a bit of a different question just because you can, you are passed out. Oh my gosh. Well, that was terrifying for a brief moment. You, friend, please stop. Why are both of you so strong? Could deal with one of you, but both is getting a little bit ridiculous. I think I will try and kill this sorcerer real quick, though. Okay, that might not have been the best idea. Do have Scrolls of Fog, though, so we'll quickly smoke the place up. Smoke bomb down. Disappear from existence. Take me back, please. Jeez Louise. But the one nice thing about early game in particular being the hard spot of the game is generally you're not too invested in your characters. It's more fun than anything, or silly, when they do die. I mean, sure, you can get pretty sick of going through D1 12 times in a row, but at the end of the day, they are the changes that I find to be a lot of fun at the very least. Should I try one more time to petrify you? I feel like it's not worth it. Let's just stay safe to live another day so we get drained by some chaos, fun stuff. And there we go. We can start exploring from here. In fact, yeah, I don't believe we found Orc or Lair, because I don't think there were any more kind of hidden sections of levels that we hadn't had the chance to explore. Interesting. Okay, we cannot petrify you. That makes sense, honestly. What else do we want to do here? Maybe start training some fighting, get some health under our belt here. And what else? What else? A little bit of hexes would help with metabolic inglaciation at the very least. Transmutation, I guess, helps with petrify, and we'll be trained down the road anyway. Hopefully we find statue form. That's the dream. So we can bring that up at least a wee bit, and maybe even a small evocations boost as well while we're at it. Don't have a heck of a lot we desperately need at the moment, so we can be a little bit generous with our experience. Rogner's is actually surprisingly castable. Thought we'd have to train some necromancy. I also wanted to check out some spell powers here. Petrify is already at 69%. Nice. Has there ever been a point in Crawl history where post-Lair was harder than pre-Lair for a 3-rune win? No, I don't think so. I think that it very much has been like that for the majority of its history. It's not that bad for regular players, but for win streakers, it can be rather annoying to die to random bull. Yeah, that's definitely fair enough. I'm somebody who doesn't mind, or more so even, I'm somebody who does just die fairly often in this game. So it's usually just, you know, water off the back, no sweat whatsoever. But definitely fair for people who really have a bit more investment into the whole staying alive and trying to, you know, get good, instead of me who just flounders around here like an absolute fool for the most part. But boy, do I have fun doing it. Yeah, so you saw our spellbook there. I'm guessing Safid hadn't actually seen your message, but good timing on that. And it is zombie hands. You're right about that. I think we will take it. The only reason I'm hesitant for Bjorn's Vile Clutch these days is because I still have some mental holdover from back in the day when it used to be absurdly powerful. And now it's just very good instead of completely unfair and overpowered. So, you know, literally unplayable, basically. No, I think we will be giving it a shot on this character. I think I want to petrify you if possible. Or not, that's cool too. And if everyone wants to just come chill for a bit, should be in an alright position. Perfect. No Curari darts, unfortunately. That's generally what I'm hoping to find off of a Kobold Brigand, but it is what it is. Ooh, and we're at 442 gold. That means we're pretty dang close. 63, let's do it. Oh my gosh. Petrify. Nice. Okay, that's a very good pick. Managed to get this hat here. Ooh, +2 of stealth. Don't mind if I do. Immediately throw that bad boy on, and we're up to 8 AC. And boy, are we looking the part of a wizard. All you need is a nice blue cap with stars on it and a flowing, voluminous robe. And you are in business. Officially a wizard. Oh, jeez Louise. Kiku got buffed. Torments does not require corpse, and Pain Rend can go on a launcher now. Interesting. Bit of a strange one. Some rather weird buffs considering there's apparently a Kiku/Necromancy rework incoming. Can definitely see why that rework might be incoming. I know that Necromancy has been in a bit of an unsatisfactory spot for a while, at least in regards to most players and devs as well. So that's exciting. Have to see what comes out of that for sure. Hoping Necromancy is a fun one because I'm not someone who's very bought into the aesthetic of Necromancy. I'm a bit of a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kind of person, but I do really like thematic characters in general. So, I mean, originally when we were talking about our vampire plans a couple weeks back, I jokingly mentioned the idea of going full Necromancer build just for the thematic aspect, and Ninth laughed in my face, which definitely was appropriate. Is unfortunately just not quite in a spot where it can be the be-all end-all of your entire dungeon career here. And okie dokie, we kind of want to use some of this money in the shops that we found thus far, but free ID on some potions is pretty nice. Specifically curing, I'd probably like to know if we have any, and if so, how many we do. That seems relevant. Then we can even head over to our stairs here and read this 5 stack of scrolls. Should be ID if I had to guess. Perfect. We have curing, we have heal wounds, so that means that we'll start with the scrolls here, immediately getting blinking. Love to see it. And what else have we got here? Oops, not that one. There we go. Still 1 ID left. We have summoning, couple of blinking. Chant weapon, chant armor, probably won't be using, at least for a wee bit here, but still nice to see. Fantastic. And yeah, do we want to go back for this quick blade as soon as we can afford it? It's interesting because it's like kind of useful in the early game, but again, this isn't a character that I feel will be sticking to the short blade side of things. It feels weird to say no to a D4 quick blade, you know? And yet, here we are. And that makes sense, Narkowski, to prep for removing corpses. A lot of the buffs oftentimes are just, yeah, factors that go into a future plan, so that does make sense. Maybe rework keeps Painbrand an option as well? I would think so. That's something that has been very kind of nice and thematic with Kiku as a necromancer, a deity, so that checks out for me at least. And how much of a buff is not needing a corpse anyway? You feel like you've always had them, except in zones where everything is already torment immune. Yeah, you know, I don't even really see bodies anymore. Ever since they took out, I mean, initially taking out prayer, or like offering bodies as sacrifices, and then taking out chunks, I'm completely blind to the corpses for the most part now. Unless they're late game dragons, because then you're just desperately hoping for that gold dragon armor, so every single gold dragon you kill becomes very relevant whether they leave a body or not. So that makes sense. Plus the fact that I always follow Go's egg. Bodies are a thing? I thought they just turned into gold piles of loot whenever you killed them. I don't know what you're talking about. Just Go's egg things. Okie dokie. I'm actually gonna park my butt down on the stairs for just a brief second here, because I need to run off for a minute and just pour my dog some food. Wife's out of the home tonight, so gotta make sure that I'm doing my due diligence. I wouldn't want to be a bad dad to those poor puppers. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in just a brief second here, and we can continue on. Any business? You all have dinner? Okie dokie. Glad I remembered that before it got too late. That's the thing. When it's sometimes hard when Doggo starts, she just plants herself in front of the food bowl like an hour before it's time to eat. So oftentimes during that time, that's when I'm getting reminded, and I'm like, oh no, not yet, just wait. And then it's actually at the appropriate time where I need the reminder that she's already completely given up hope. Doesn't believe there's a chance in the world that she'll get fed. She's just resigned herself to starving, I guess. A little over dramatic, but fair enough. Bodies are irrelevant with Anime Dead or Simulacrum, for sure, but I think more so Torinski meant in a functional aspect, since if there are always bodies around, then it's not too much of a concern. Oh gosh, we're going for a medley of colors today. Yellow, we're wearing yellow like rain boots, a vibrant magenta cloak, of course the aforementioned blue wizard cap with stars on it, white and red robe. It's quite the look, is all I'll say about that. It's something, it's a choice. But hey, you can wear whatever you want when you're a wizard that slings the ultimate death and destruction everywhere you go, because everyone starts to get a bit of, or get the memo of what exactly happens to those who make fun of the wizard. Okay, definitely turn you to stone real quick, and then the rest of these bad boys we can just walk away from. With dexterity ranged and Kiku given ranged pain, you guess getting pain brand with Sprig and then swamping to another god would be a viable plan? Yeah, potentially. Might be cool to see what the dev team explores necromancy as, or see them explore necromancy as communing with spirits rather than just undeath adjacent stuff. We don't see that happening. Divinations were removed ages ago for a reason. Yeah, definitely. Right, it's tough because there are lots of like cool slants that you could take on something like necromancy. And then you run the risk of people who want just, I want my character fully themed as a lord of undeath, like a vampire per se. Then you might be upsetting some part of the player base. But if you're worried about that, I guess you're in more trouble, because it seems like generally anything you do will upset some portion of the player base, so you just kind of cut your losses where you need to. Yeah, you know, Colgate, I can't remember at all what divinations did. I feel like they were still in the game when I first started playing. I don't know if I used them too much. Yeah, definitely drawing a blank for me. Of course, if anyone else in chat was around back in the prehistoric times of DCSS. Another fellow dinosaur like myself. Definitely shout out, because I'm curious if it will ring any bells for me. Okie dokie, this is gonna be an interesting lair here. Probably do just want to start petrifying most of these bad boys up front. In fact, you can see how many of the monsters are still red outlines, so we probably want to be a wee bit cautious about things. At least for the first wee bit here. And let's actually throw our darts on auto, because then we can kind of use them to attract monsters, just so. We woke up the others, but I'm curious, where did they go? You're not a Hydra or a Komodo dragon. I mean, you'll die like one, but now I'm terrified. Where did your other friends go? Riddle me that. Specifically, Komodo dragon is going to be a wee bit rough. More arcane toad. Not too shabby. Petrify doing the Lord's work here and there. 50-50 shot on a Hydra. That's a bit rough, but there we go. We managed to get it in the end. Let's get off. I think 2 more stabs. Then I want to get some distance. Perfect timing. Ooh, do I even want to take the risk of a single turn? See, 48% on that. If we switch over to Paralysis Wand, 26%. Not great. Oh, especially when the Petrify doesn't work. Now we have to just cross our fingers and hope that the Komodo Dragon isn't wandering around here at the moment. But we can use this teleport trap to get our little Hydropal out of there. And that is perfect. Scary. Bunch of spells for locating things plus magic mapping for divinations. You know, that makes a lot of sense. I probably should have at least ventured a guess in that way. I think there were more things as well, but it's been ages, right? Yeah. It's hard to remember all the things that were changed. But it was removed several versions before controlled teleport was made a temporary effect. It is sad that Trog doesn't like Painbrand plus training necromancy. Right, you'd think? I mean, I guess against all magic. But let's be honest, Trog mostly just hates books. They never learned how to read, so they feel terrible when other people lord their intelligentsia over Trog, and that's where it all comes down to. It's more of an insecurity thing than any meaningful dogma, as we all know. The deep Trog lore. So maybe one day they'll come around and realize that sure, books are for nerds, but pain is just metal as hell, and Trog's all about being metal. So I think it'd work out for their branding. Skill manuals or picture books, exactly. So that's totally fine. It all tracks perfectly. I did not at all just forget that training manuals were a thing, of course. It's all, again, just part of the deep lore. We all know that training manuals are picture books. You don't need me to tell you that. Oh, crap. I actually kinda just want one of you, if that is cool with you. Oh, me oh my. Especially when Petrify fails over and over again, that's not exactly the ideal situation. Let's try and get you started to be petrified here, because then I believe you will be petrified in the hallway, which is perfect. Poison you up, but don't kill you, and then we still have the gap from our Hydra friend. Lovely. Now what do I do with you, my Hydra pal? My buddy old pal, friend o' mine. Probably go for at least a couple of attempts here. Okay, we get the Petrify off. Oof. Overstayed our welcome just a wee bit in terms of the close quarters combat. Let's go back to running for our lives, getting in the official, or the occasional Petrify rather, when random energy gives us the chance. Of course, Hydra Pal is gonna pretty much completely heal up in the process. Very unfortunate. I go for another 50% chance. Alternatively, we could just use something like a teleport scroll, get away, and then try and engage from a little bit further away and just use a liberal number of Ice Blast charges to get the job done. Let's go with one more Petrify. Okay. I think you're gonna get turned to stone. Perfect. Oh my gosh, so close. Oh, geez Louise. Terrifying, but I think I'm gonna take the risk. 1 blast, 2 blast, and that should do it. Perfect. Ooh, failed an 80%. That is less ideal, for being honest. But all's good in the end. All's well that ends well. And we did manage to take out our first Hydra, so that's nice. A bit more terrifying than I would have liked again, but you take whatever you can get here and there. At least when we're diving in here a little bit earlier than is comfortable. So do we want to keep exploring in Lair? Or should we head back out to regular dungeon for a wee bit? See if we can't get a bit more experience under our belt. Maybe even find another spell to learn. Bjornir's is definitely on the agenda here. In fact, all these skills are coming pretty dang close to reaching the caps that we set for them. So, could learn Freezing Cloud with some cold magic. I guess Ice, Air, and Conjurations is a bit of a nasty combo for us. Conjuration aptitudes are absolutely garbage, unfortunately. Ice is pretty good, but it's all schools that we haven't started any training in, so we're a bit behind the curve. I think we'll just go with Bjornir's Vile Clutch. Maybe Mephitic Cloud and Ignite Poison. Still kind of feeling out if we should even bother. Let's learn Bjornir's now, shall we? And in fact, might as well train just a wee bit of Necromancy. Not even a lot, just something like 3 for now. And I might even turn Earth Magic back on. Get trained up. PVC also works nice with Death Channels. It can be fired through friends. This is true. And you know, yeah, we talked about Death Channel last week. And I think immediately after the stream when we raided Particle Face, they were talking about Death Channel as well. So it seems like I've just missed the memo on that one and never really given it a fair shake. So maybe we'll try it out this round. It would live up a little bit to my thematic dreams of giving my Necromancer some necromantic abilities, so I think that works out nicely. Maybe we'll end up raising this cap in just a short time here, but for now, I'm happy with that. We still haven't found Orc, I don't believe. No, let's just go back to the regular dungeon though, and see what we may or may not find, shall we? Already had forgotten about Rampage, but fortunately didn't end up playing too much of a role there. Perfect. Oh, and I missed. Narkowski, you mentioned that trying to figure out what else was in Divinations would mean playing 0.5. Patch notes and wikis were not good back then. Definitely not. I'm curious, at some point I should look around. I think I still somewhere in my house have the little netbook that I used to play DCSS on in high school. I'm curious, it would probably still have all the versions that I played installed on it. So that'd be a blast from the past, and I'd actually be able to answer definitively which version I started in, because I never remember, and when features are thrown out there, I'm generally like reminded of something that I had definitely seen before, and it's in an earlier version that I thought was the last one I played. So it'd be a fun little thing to figure out for sure. Oops, let's not blast ourselves. That seems sensible. This is the second time we've gone the undead opening section for Orc as a vampire. It's fitting, is it not? Let's not bother going back down that stairwell, and instead we can swap things out a little bit. Stay safe out there. You, friend, we can probably kill. Oh wow, before you even get a chance to shoot at us once. You do love to see it. And perfect. I should actually probably just quiver Stone Arrow at this point, since we're using it a fair amount here. Should I? I probably should have petrified that troll, but here we are. We're still alive. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. Ooh, hello, friend. Rather not fight you when we're already in a wee bit of a lackluster state. 80% chance to petrify, though. Do you love to see that? That should just about do it. Fantastic. We found a bit more with some digging, but no spells above level 6. Well, that's for the blast from the past. Let's check this out real quick. Don't think I have a good screen capture, so I'll just try and be descriptive. Oh, Detect Secret Doors was a divination spell. Back when there were still secret doors, I remember just going to every corner of the map and waiting out hundreds of turns, just trying to find those. Detect creatures, detect items, detect curse, interesting. See invisible, used to be divination. And you could actually cast Identify. How about that? Level 6 spell. That's fun. That's definitely a blast from the past. War Scry was a divination spell which increased the player's evasion by 8. Oh, that's cool. See into the future a little bit. Very cute. Oh, well, that's fun. definitely a bit of a blast in the past, even though I'm still not sure if I ever saw the actual divination spells myself, or if just some of the features were the same by the time I got around to the game. Maybe we'll never know. Plus MP items got nerfed. Is this in trunk you're saying, Colgate? Unequipping them removes that much current MP and not just max. However, equipping one does not give current MP, so by equipping and unequipping, you can spend all of your magic. Is that just in trunk? For whatever reason, that's how I felt like it already worked in the current. But I guess it makes sense if it just takes it from the max. Unequipping them removes that much current MP and not just the max. So it removes the max and then it subtracts the 9 MP or whatever. Interesting. Well, my zombie friends, if you could just come right this way. Come one, come all. In fact, maybe we'll switch over to Sandblast since that's a little more consistent. Oh, geez. You came out of nowhere, friend. You'll probably Ghostly Fireball, because I'm pretty sure everyone except for me here is immune to it. Oof. That's not great. 48% chance to petrify you. Worth a shot. Then I'm just going to read Teleport, because that Ghostly Fireball hurts like a son of a gun. Jeez Louise. Get me out, coach. Okie dokie. Let's try not to get snuck up on by Josephine after already expending most of our resources, shall we? Speaking of divinations, what do we have identified? A decent chunk for sure. We have our blinking, we have our summoning scrolls, heal wounds, potions, all the important stuff. But since then, we haven't found any ID scrolls. Both having the start of the run, not having more than 1 or 2 of them, to now not find any. I guess it's just a light dungeon when it comes to IDing, which I mean works for me. Basically just playing a normal DCSS run for me, not IDing anything. Well, head back through. If we do find Josephine when we're in a good position, I do feel like we can take them on. Just need to get one good roll on the Petrify. Especially if we can separate them a little bit from all the Wraithy pals. Please? Please? Okay, it does work in the end here. It's a little bit later than I would like, which means I don't think we're getting the kill. Ooh, and I am slowed now as well. That's less than ideal. You are super poisoned. I should have taken a step back from the situation 1 or 2 turns earlier, made sure that we got enough space to actually use some of our other abilities. Interesting. In stable, it is often correct to start with magic rings equipped and mid-fight swap to pin/wizard rings. Interesting rather. Increases decision making and reduces tedium. You like it? Yeah, again, I thought that it already worked that way. In my mind, it seemed wild to start a fight with the magic power and then swap off of it. But it makes sense, because in general I find that I avoid a lot of things that would be attributed to tedium, because I'm exceptionally lazy, so that tracks for sure. But do we just try and finish you off, friend, or do I run? Could Tim of Tremor Stones, but I feel like that doesn't go exceptionally well for us either. I guess we have 11 AC. Hit some of these other targets as well. Let's go for 1 stone arrow and see what happens. We do get the kill immediately. Perfect. And I feel like we can kill the Wraith here, and that's the big issue of the moment. Fantastic. Not too shabby here. Josephine being a terrifying foe to come across at this stage in the game. In fact, what do you have? A +4 Vampiric Dagger? I mean, I guess I could take that. Let's set these to A and B real quick so we can hot swap between them, drop the regular dagger on the ground. Because I guess if we petrify enemies and then we start tearing into them with a Vampiric Dagger, that kind of pops off. I can dig that. What else do we have here? Oh, a surprising number of living opponents. I thought there was nothing but the Bazambis down here. Well, in that case, let's definitely take care of that son of a gun. Fortunately, ogre zombies not quite as effective as their living and breathing alternatives. So no real problems there. And that should be most of the level, honestly, since it seemed like we just made enough noise that everything was shaking out and running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Never mind. And suddenly an Arug. How about that? Please don't step into Blink. Thank you so much. You son of a gun, you. Honestly, I could totally understand not having the best vision. That's totally fair enough. I could see, you know, mistaken identity makes sense. Funnily enough, I was gonna say that you'd think she'd be able to tell from smell, but I guess if she smells terrible, then maybe it's a nose blindness kind of thing, and everyone smells like a heartbeat to her all of a sudden. So that's fair enough. Never mind. You do you, Arug. Don't let anybody tell you different. But Whip of Electrocution. Chances of petrifying are probably pretty low. Oh, 65% on Arug? Huh. You know, I can probably swing that. So we could start clutching. Let's clutch you. Let's clutch you. Ouch. Stop that. Jeez Louise, how long are you gonna take to get stoned here, friend? Guess we could start with Ice Blast while we're waiting. Make sure that we don't get too far inside of danger range. And apparently we murder you before you get the opportunity to turn to stone? Huh. How about that? Well, I didn't expect that fight to go that well, but I'll take it. Lovely. But you'd guess you'd now just train more spellcasting if you want more magic, and magic rings come rather useless. Yeah, again, fortunately doesn't change too much for me. I generally found MP rings useless. If it's the first ring I found, sure, I'll throw that bad boy on, why the heck not? But otherwise, meh, not a huge loss. And hey Railbird, how's it going? Thanks for dropping on by today. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, a great week in general. I hope all is well across the board.